Hi YouTubers, this is Marko with Marko Custom Models. Today I'm bringing you the final installment on the M19 tank transporter with the soft top cab by Merit Models. It's finished, it's done. It entered a contest. You may have seen it in the AMPS contest that we had. I did that little video, and AMPS stands for Armor, Modeling, and Preservation Society. Anyway, it took gold in that in its category. So there's the medal there. So we took gold with it. So it turned out pretty good. So there's a couple of things. It kind of skipped ahead here. I mean, I showed you a little bit on the trailer. Now it's finished. The tank on the back, I did not build that tank. It is a Tamiya tank of a Sherman. This is sort of my friend Napoleon Rivetti was the one who came to me with this kit and the truck. Wanted some help with it. I ended up saying, no, I'll build it, and he helped with some airbrushing, and it was a joint effort. He built the tank, though, all by himself, so this is the tank. I can't tell you a whole lot about it, how it was weathered. He did all of this. So some jerry cans and some camouflage tarp on the back. So I'd show you that. The reason I showed you the tank was just because that's how it was entered in the contest, and that's how it won. It was judged. This was the judging sheet. So it's just interesting. Got pretty good marks. And on the bottom, it was a very clean truck and a dirty tank. So we also didn't do tie down straps to hold the tank down. So that's how we scored. So yeah, that was the thing there. So here's update you what was done since the last video. The trailer, obviously, we finished that up. So one of the things I did with this trailer was I built the chassis with the wheels on it and painted that separate than the body of the trailer, because to get paint into some of these crevices would be difficult without doing that. So I just wanted to pass that tip along. All the hooks on this trailer are still movable, other than the ones on the side, because they sit upward. And there's little tiny pieces of photo etch I tried bending. They're very, very small. Could not get them on there too. They're just little clasps that hold those hooks. So that was one detail that just never made it to the trailer. The ramps still move, so they're posable if you wanted to put them down. If you wanted to have a tank loading on there, you could do that. This model has a lot of features. You could glue the doors open. You could do a really nice diorama if you wanted to have it in a diorama where you're recovering a tank. You could have it in all sorts of different ways. So it's really a good kit that way. A lot of detail. Yeah, in the back here, I'll show you, there's the tail of it. And then this side, the top, and the other side. So one of the things I wanted to point out was on the hitch. It's got a Pintle Hitch on it. I glued the top part of the Pintle to the trailer. So when you hook it up, let me just realign this so you can see what I'm talking about. When you hook up that trailer and you set it behind it, it now looks completely hooked up. What they want sort of to say, you know, in the instructions is you put the trailer on there, you glue the Pintle, but then they're sort of always attached to each other. Would be really hard to transport this model, but if you were tying it down to a diorama or something like that, that would probably work just fine. But for me, that's what I wanted to do, is I just made it so you could set it up. And I glued the trailer in position so it's not really posable or steerable. Just set it up as basically like an as-new built truck. I'll set that aside. So this is the truck. We've seen it before, but just a couple features. The hook on the back of this model, set up at the rear, finished it off with a piece of brass tubing, and that's a hook that was like an eyelet out of another kit. I don't even know what it was from. It was modeled in gray plastic, I can tell you that. So that finished that off, and the taillights, and I did some dry brushing and put a little bit of like oil detail on there, like grease, to keep it lubricated. The decals are on. Used micro sole and micro set for those. A little bit of silvering on the decal on the hood if you look hard at it. Just it had to go over a lot of little details, but it did it. On this model, as you remember in the past videos, I made a brass hinge setup for the hood. Allows it to open so you can see the engine. I also glued the windshield in an open position for some detail, and I'll just show you the truck here, all the angles. There's the side there. You can see there's the windshield in the open position, and there's some photo etch detail that had to go along with making it look like the windshield was open, so that was pretty cool. There's a guy in there. I'm not sure what figurine it is, but anyway, there's a figurine in there, and I painted the eyes as well. I'll show you that. There's the driver's side of the truck, or left side, and then the chassis. There you go. A lot of detail, beautiful kit. I put a chain in the box here, just a loose chain in there. So one of the things that, also look at the beauty on this 50 cal. The paintwork on that, all the bullets and everything looks pretty good. And the ammo box is a different shade of green than the truck. Turned out really well. Also for the cable, if you haven't seen the other videos, that one, it's made out of picture hanging wire, so it's metal. So one thing I did was I just left the cab loose on this truck. You can pull it off. So I glued the interior tub down to the chassis. The fenders are all glued on. The box is glued on. I just didn't glue the cab down just in case I need to, sometimes something falls, breaks, or something falls out like a shifter. Want to be able to just go in and fix that. The guy there was not set up to really hold the steering wheel on both sides, so I improvised and took a piece of aluminum, rolled the edge, and made a coffee cup. So, I'm not sure if they'd be driving with a cup of coffee, but anyway, that was just something that I did because his hand was wide open and above the steering wheel. And then there's the eyes. Painted those, they look pretty good. So that's that. So, just to be able to service the model, I left the cab loose like that. I can show you the cab up close now that there's how that turned out. So there's the cab, and then there's the hood hinge there, like you've seen before, sort of in there, just made up. If you go back on a previous video on one of the updates, there's a little more detail on those. There's a fire extinguisher in there, and then the gauges and dash. Just did a dry brush instead of using the decal. A decal over some detail like that would be a lot of silvering, and just decided to go with a dry brush instead. So yeah, that's the update. It's finished. Turned out really well. I'm happy with it. And hey, took gold. So I'd like to also just shout out to my friend Napoleon for helping me with the airbrushing and stuff like that. He had the spray booth set up. So this is an olive drab khaki that we used, and from Model Master, and it's the acrylic. So yeah, it was turned out really good. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you like, please subscribe, and have a great day.